What's up you guys, Charles here and welcome back to the channel. So you want to know how to travel for free? Well, credit card churning does actually allow you to do this. So in this video I'm going to explain exactly how credit card churning works and how you can use it to your advantage, and as well as the possible negative aspects of credit card churning and why you shouldn't do it. Now firstly, what is credit card churning? Credit card churning is essentially opening up credit cards again and again and meeting a minimum spending requirement, which is usually within the first 90 days of opening up the credit card, in order to get the rewards that you get for meeting that minimum spending requirement. Now some people open up usually every 6 to 8 months because credit card companies don't like it if you're applying in the shortest period of time. Usually every 6 to 8 months they apply for a new card and meet that minimum spending requirement and collect those rewards. And then if there's an annual fee, they'll keep it open until just before there's the annual fee, unless the rewards on the credit card and cashback or whatever are worth more than the annual fee on the credit card, in which case they'll keep it open. Now firstly, I'm going to give you the good news and the good aspects of credit card churning. Now firstly, credit card churning, if used correctly, can allow you to travel for free. Now how can you do this? Essentially, as I said, once you meet the minimum spending requirement, you get the rewards of most of the cards. This reward on mostly the Amex card, but also some cards such as the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the Chase Sapphire Preferred, they will give you points. Now these points are then transferable in different categories, normally travel and hotel stays. So this means that if you meet the minimum spending requirement, which you should only be meeting if that's what you're already spending, you shouldn't be spending more money on stupid stuff just to meet that minimum spending requirement, and definitely you shouldn't be spending more than you earn. I'll go over why that is later. But then you essentially have these free points just from meeting the minimum requirement that you already use anyway, to gain these points to then spend on free travel. Now I'm going to take, for example, the Amex Platinum card and show you some of the benefits you get from meeting the minimum spending requirement. Now firstly, the minimum spending requirement on this card is 4,000 in the first 6 months of you owning this card. Now that's relatively low. Now the welcome bonus that you get just for having the card is 30,000 membership reward points. Now this is the sort of American Express currency, and this translates in terms of actual monetary value to around £420. Now just to warn you, the card does come with an annual fee of £575, but just the 30,000 rewards bonus almost immediately offsets that annual value. Now they also offer other rewards, such as every pound you spend you get £1 back, except certain categories such as American Express Travel, where every pound you spend you get 2 points back, although that's very little in terms of actual value. Now it comes with a bunch of other perks. There's, for example, £10 a month Addison Lee taxis if you book the car and pay it with the cards. Now another thing is there's a huge £150 credit on private home rental stay that you book with One Fine Stay, which provides luxury homes. Although if you don't have the income to spend this might not be a perk that you'd be interested in looking at if you're trying to save money. Now you also then have access to all the Centurion lounges. Now these are mostly in the US and around America, so if you're from the UK, this might not be a perk for you. But of what I've heard, they're worth all their money. They're 100% worth it. You can gorge yourself with food and bring food on the flight and have a relaxing stay instead of with everyone else, which is just another perk of the card. Now the bottom line is this is probably one of the best travel credit cards on the market, and might save you a lot of money because the rewards will offset the annual fee you have to pay. I'll leave a link in the description to an article that talks about the UK one. It's pretty interesting and you'll be able to see extensively all the reward cards. But basically there are a bunch of reward cards like these for travel, and whilst not all of them allow you to apply for them again and again, some do. So churning involves opening one, then getting all the bonuses on it, then closing it or keeping it open depending on whether it's worth it or not to keep it open, and then applying for a new one soon after, and they rack up all these points to then spend on free travel. And these points you can spend on some of the best hotels like Hilton, Hyatt and other great hotels around the world. Now not all of them are related to travel. You can get cash back on some, you can get points if you spend them on certain categories, which can then be put into travel. There are a bunch of cards with different benefits, which is why a lot of people keep those cards open, even if they have an annual fee, depending on whether the rewards are worth the annual fee or not. Basically just making smart use of your money and leveraging products out there for you. Now another positive thing is that if you have a lot of credit cards open and you keep them open, it allows you to have a long credit history, and on top of that, it will mean you'll have a large access to credit, which means every time you spend, you'll have a low credit utilization ratio. This makes up around 30% of your credit score. The credit utilization ratio is essentially how much you use your credit compared to how much you actually have available. For example, if you were to spend £10 on a credit card and your limit on your credit card is 100, you've got a 10% utilization ratio. Now, normally to keep a good credit score, you need to keep under 30, around 25% credit utilization ratio, which is why you don't want to directly go into credit card churning. You want to have cards that give you a big credit margin so that when you're meeting the minimum spending requirements on these new travel cards, you're not affecting your credit score. Because since you have such a high amount of credit available, it doesn't actually affect you how much you spend. Now, as I'm sure you're aware, credit cards are like fire. If you use them correctly, they're a huge and very essential tool, but if you use them badly, they can burn you. So I'm going to talk about the burning badly part now. As I briefly mentioned, if you're new to the credit card game and you open these cards up, firstly, you won't get accepted, or very unlikely that you get accepted, because you won't have credit history, and every time you apply for credit cards, they check your credit score and credit history. And if you don't have a lot of credit history, they're not going to allow you to have access to these cards because you're seen as more of a risk. And this is why you need to start building up your credit score very early and opening up credit cards, whether that's co-signing with your parents that get access to a credit card, or getting a student bank account credit card, or just getting credit builder cards. Now, the other thing is you don't want to do this credit card churning stuff if you're getting ready to take out a major loan, such as a mortgage, for example, because lenders check if you've had recent applications for credit, normally around 6 to 8 months, but sometimes even up to 12 months. And if they see you've been churning and applying for loads of credit cards, this will show lenders that you are desperate for credit, even although you're not. They don't know that, and they might think that you're desperate for credit and therefore decline you, which will then affect your credit score. Now, the other thing you need to make sure, like with any debt ever, is to always pay back in full every month how much you owe. And this is for two reasons mainly. Firstly, the interest rate on these cards are huge. They're like 30%. So 30% for the first month might not seem like a lot if you spent £1, but over time, if you spent more, then it will compound and compound and become so huge that you'll get caught up in it, and it'll be like a snowball effect. It'll start off small and it'll get very, very big very fast, and you'll struggle immensely to pay that off. So you should only use credit cards just in general. Don't even think about churning if you can't manage your money responsibly, and if you're going to spend more than you can afford to pay back. Now, the other reason this is terribly bad is that if you miss a payment ever, lenders can see this for up to 6 years. Now, that's 6 years, that's a huge amount of time, especially if you're in your mid-20s and you want to apply for a house in your 30s, early 30s. The lenders will still see that, although they won't pay much attention to it, but they will see it. And this can severely reduce your credit score. Now, last but not least, every time you apply for credit, it does temporarily affect your credit score for around 6 months, because you're applying for a new line of credit. This means that they look you up and it's a hard search, and lenders can see whether you've been searched up recently. But if used correctly, then you're building a new line of credit, which means that you'll have a lower credit utilization ratio, which is amazing. But these things take time, and I would definitely only start if you understand credit cards well. Have a high credit limit on other cards so that your credit utilization ratio stays below 30 optimally. But also, you need to be tracking your expenses regularly, because you don't want to be spending more than you can earn, and you should only apply for these churning credit cards, the reward credit cards, if you normally meet that minimum spending requirement anyway. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it, because you're falling into their trap. Now, if you gained any value from this video, I'd really appreciate it if you did smash that like button, and comment below if you've got any questions. I try to answer as many as I can, but it really helps me and the channel reach more people thanks to the YouTube algorithm. And if you're interested about this topic or other topics related to money, saving, investing, managing your money, budgeting, and other things of the sort, as well as in the near future, I want to make more videos about traveling, and do consider smashing that subscribe button too. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.